Wisconsin in the fall. The first time I made the trip, I was 8 years old with my grandparents, and I look forward to getting up here as often as I can. I was able to knock two birds out with one stone on this trip. I went to the Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Riders in Eau Claire, and then my friend Doug Duren was having an event with Trout Routes in the Driftless. I got the invite. I couldn't pass it up, and I'm super, super glad to have been here to meet so many cool people, learn about this incredible app, one that I'm going to use a lot, and then to get to experience the Driftless region of Wisconsin again. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Eric Johnson, and I'm the Community Marketing Manager for Trout Routes.
I'm Doug Duren. I'm a big bald guy with glasses.
I'm Kyle Zempel, owner of Black Earth Angling Company.
Welcome to the Driftwood Outdoors podcast. So Shags isn't able to make this trip. You guys are stuck with me, and we're going to have a whole plethora of people come through tonight. We've got a fire going outside. Anyone who knows Doug knows that one of his big initiatives is Share the Land. And Doug, I'm getting to experience this for the first time. I've been here and toured the famous Dern farm, but now I'm getting to see you in your element. There's a dozen people sitting outside by the fire. Everyone's talking about fishing or conservation or, friendship, all the things that you would hope to have going around a campfire. I know you often say, like, I don't even know how this all happened, but how did all this happen? How did we all end up at Doug Duren's around a fire talking about conservation?
Well, conservation is such an interesting word to me. Like I think I said around the fire earlier, it's not. I mean, I was being taught about conservation was when I was a kid by my grandfather and my father, and I didn't know there was a word for it. Right? We were just doing it. We were doing things on this property. And this property needed to do so many different things, pay for itself and do all of this. And then I became the recipient, my generation, my siblings and I, we became the recipients of this piece of property. And it has allowed me, because of what we did when we were younger and what previous generations had done, it has allowed me to both be selfish and do what I want to do, but then also open it up to other people. And that's what sharing land is all about, is those kinds of opportunities and landowners sharing their properties. The work that I've done with Onyx Maps and Onyx Hunt led to the work that I did with Trout Routes, and Eric and I got together, and this was a weekend that is a result of the partnership that we have and their support of sharing the land, private land access initiative. Kyle, who I've known a little bit for a while, and we kind of move in the same circles, and you and I have, and it's just like, well, here's this great opportunity to get us all together, and so that's what we did.
Yeah, you're definitely a connector. I love that about you. I try to be a connector myself. I'm not on your level yet, but you bring people together in a way that
I'll give you tips later.
so
about the same level that
so many people appreciate. I mean, just
that's really nice.
I'm leaving here 48 hours later with a handful of people that I'm really going to consider friends moving forward, and that's what this is all about to me. Transitioning quickly into Onyx and Trout Routes so we can kind of do the business side of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've told people again and again, there is nothing that's changed my outdoor enjoyment or gear-wise more than Onyx in the last 10 years or so. I don't remember how long ago I got Onyx for the first time, but the iterations. I was with Ben from Onyx Hunt. I was with Joel from Onyx Fish.
Yeah.
And I'm with you talking about Trout Routes. It's just unbelievable how Onyx has opened up so much opportunity for people to find the areas they need to go fishing, hunting, off-roading, hiking, really any outdoor opportunity you're looking for. Trout Routes was new to me. I'm excited for you to tell the story of kind of how it came about and the acquisition. But just to put in perspective how easy it is to use, I was leaving Eau Claire. I reached out to you, said, hey, do you want to fish tonight? I was going to go to Verwoqua. You were busy with kids and family and all that, and you said no. So I actually pulled over and pulled up Trout Routes and said, well, what's closer to Doug? and I found a state park and a number of creeks. One of them, just judging it by its name and the fact that Trout Routes had it classified as
Big Trout
a
Creek?
class one. No, it was Billings Creek. I'll share it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I lived in Billings, Montana. I was like,
yeah.
I'll go to Billings.
Yeah.
And I caught 2 brown trout, and it was 100% because of that app that I found that creek, found that state park, went there, enjoyed myself. So I was already looking at Missouri. I mean, I feel like I know Missouri really well. I found trout water on Trout Routes that I didn't know existed. Now I got to go check that out.
Yeah.
So give us the background.
Yeah, I'll give you the quick story. As your listeners, I'm sure, are familiar with Onyx Hunt and what they've done for the backcountry hunting space, we've really replicated for trout fishing opportunities. So it's mapping public land, it's mapping fishing access, and it's mapping trout streams across the entire lower 48. And the whole idea got started by our founder up in the Twin Cities, who was looking for a tool that he couldn't find elsewhere for resources for fishing the Driftless area where we're at tonight. And so he started putting some things together, took it to a couple of fly shows in St. Paul, and had such positive feedback, not only for what it could do for the Driftlets, but for what it could do for trout fishing everywhere. And so I've been part of the company since 2022, and we grew the platform from having about half the country mapped to mapping the entire lower 48, and that's in the neighborhood of 50,000 trout streams. It's an incredible amount of trout fishing opportunity that we have at our disposal here in this country. And we grew our business relationships, we grew our presence within the fly fishing space, and we were acquired by Onyx Maps in March of 2024. So I've been part of this really incredible ride from a small startup crew of just 4 full-time employees plus our founder to now being part of one of the, in fact, I would say the forerunner of mapping technology for just about every outdoor pursuit. And we've been really, really fortunate to connect with anglers all over the country to share those opportunities, to help them realize where they can find fishing access, and maybe plan a big trip out of state or out west or in the southeast, or even, as you're saying, find fishing opportunities that might be in their backyard that they didn't know existed before. And so we're really happy to be out here with Doug and get a chance to connect with anglers and guides and people that are interested in conservation and help tell our story and help leverage our technology to further those pursuits.
Yeah, we used it today as a group. There was 10 or so of us out fishing a bunch of different creeks. We'll have Kyle talk a little bit about the Driftless as a fishery. It's amazing. For people that aren't familiar, it's nothing like what you're picturing in your head. We're fishing streams that you can often jump across, and there's big trout in there and lots of trout in there. I paid for my good fortune today. I ate the big skunk. It was funny because I think I told, it was either you or Zach. I said it's kind of like golf. The more time I take off from golf, the better I come back, and I'm really good until I start thinking I'm pretty good at this, and then I just fall off. And I think that's what happened in fly fishing today. I had an hour that would make you want to just quit fly fishing.
The Driftless is a challenging place to fish.
Oh.
You said it absolutely right. A lot of this water is no more than a couple of feet wide. There's a lot of overgrown grass. There are a lot of steep banks with lots of willow branches, plenty of things for you to get tangled and hung up on. And it can sometimes be a pretty technical fishery, but I think that's one of the things that I really like about it is not only is it a bit of a hidden gem for us here in the upper Midwest, but it has a lot of challenges that I think fly anglers really like to lean into.
Yeah, leave your 9-foot rods at home. It made me remember that I once had an Orvis 7'5" 5-weight. I don't know what happened to that rod, but I need another 7'5"
I have
rod.
a 6.5 foot rod.
Yeah, like
and
a
an 8.5 foot rod. Yeah.
The shorter the better.
I like that short rod.
For sure.
A lot of these creeks.
A 7-foot rod on these creeks would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyle, tell us a little bit about your guide business.
Yeah, so I own a guide service in outside of Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm just on the kind of the southeast side of the Driftless, kind of the entrance to the Driftless if you're heading west out of Madison. And that's where that's where my passion kind of developed for trout fishing and fly fishing in general, is just in the driftless. And I thought for sure I was heading out west out of college and to the grand things out there and all the great trout fishing opportunities, and then discovered what was in my backyard, and it completely blew my mind, and I fell in love with it, and I don't know if I'll ever leave it, to be honest with you. There's a lot here to love, and I started a guide service a little bit by happenstance, but it has grown into quite a successful business. I have multiple guys that work for me, and we guide for kind of trout in the spring and fall when kind of the cooler temps and the fishing is best, and in the summer months we chase smallmouth bass on the Wisconsin River.
Yeah, I think I told you last night, and I think it was you that said amen when I said I've said this for many years. If God just looked at me and said, "You have one day left to live," I'd take the people closest to me and I'd go fly fish for smallmouth.
Amen.
There's just something about it. And I did go out west after college and thought I was going to integrate into that mountain community. I did it all, man. I bought a North Face. I learned how to say things like "I'm stoked." I did all the things that you're supposed to do.
I'm glad I missed all that shit.
But I just couldn't shake the Midwest. But coming back, I really did think, man, my fly fishing career is just ending as it's starting. And Driftwood Outdoors actually is named that because of the Driftwood River in Indiana. That's a little 20-mile stretch of river that kind of is a connector between two smaller rivers and now a bigger river. And it is just chock full of good smallmouth. And once I realized, wait a minute, you can catch fish that aren't trout on fly rods.
Absolutely.
The whole world opened up at that point, and I've been fly fishing ever since. But tangling with a bronze back, there's just not much else like it.
No, there's not. It's a really special fish,
So Eric, when's bronze back routes coming out?
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah,
one,
I imagine it'll come in time.
We're working on some things right now that I think will help move that along.
Yeah, just follow the trout streams until they are no longer trout streams, and you'll find your bass.
Indeed.
That's really pretty
Keep
accurate.
going downstream, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, you do a lot of bass guiding on bigger waters, but
Correct.
you guide on these smaller waters, or at least back in the day, you did a lot of guiding in this area. How would you describe it to somebody coming up here to fish? What are some tips, some tactics, some equipment that people might want to bring? Give them kind of the game plan for coming to the Driftless and being first-timers.
For sure, and I think you guys hit it right on the head with it. It's not what you think when you hear of that. It's like this amazing trout fishery area, right? And the streams are small. They're small and intimate. Road to sidewalk and width is the best way to describe it to most people. Very intimate little valleys, and the sheer density of spring creeks in this area, I think it's one of the highest in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You can drive up and over the hill, and you're in a completely different, watershed sometimes. And that density is what makes it so incredibly special. And you team that then with all of the access that we have within that driftless region. I mean, you should have a stream to yourself most days, which is sometimes what we're all after. Is I want to go out there, and some people want to chase big fish, and that's fine. Some people want to go out there and find, seclusion, and this is a really neat place to do that in these quiet little valleys. But if you're coming to the area, you don't necessarily need waders. I think that is a big holdup for some folks. With the small streams, you can do a lot of the fishing from the banks, but it is sometimes nice to have some sort of hip wader or something like that is oftentimes helpful to cross streams and things like that. And oftentimes in the summer months or the warmer months, we do a lot of wet wading. It's easier to walk around and get around.
Well, this is September, whatever it is, the end of September, and you were in the water in flip-flops today.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I was wearing my Chacos. It was a little too warm for waders for me, but you can get away with being pretty minimalistic here. The streams here, especially in the spring, get very diverse hatches. And so you're going to want to have, do your little research on kind of what bugs might be coming off, and come with a box full of those.
Yeah, because dry fly fishing is a big thing here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think a lot of folks maybe do some fishing out west, and they build their box of flies and things that they use, and then they come here, and if I could just take all of their flies and shrink them by 2 or 3 sizes, they'd be in good shape. We use some of the similar patterns, but a lot of times we size a lot of things down. Just the creeks are smaller, more intimate, and sometimes the smaller flies are what those fish are eating.
If a guy was going to put a box together to come up here, what are 5 flies that they got to have in the box?
5 flies they got to have in the box. I mean, you're always going to want to have your standards, like your pheasant tails. We like to use a lot of tungsten beaded flies that get down quickly because our little pockets, our holes in our streams are very small, and so you need to get down quickly. Otherwise, by the time you get down, you've floated your fly too far through the zone, essentially, right? So you want to be able to punch down through the water column quickly and get down quickly. And so small, thin-profiled nymphs are oftentimes very, very helpful. So you're going to want to have something in that realm, and it's not always important exactly what it is. It's just that it gets down quickly and it's the right kind of shape and profile. So your pheasant tails, your hare's ears, your standards there, with a tungsten bead to get down quickly. You're going to want to have some sort of little foam terrestrial. Here is one of the favorites is the hippie stomper, which is like a little, foam grasshopper-y beetle thing, right? And that one, oftentimes this time of year, we do a lot of like dry dropper systems, right? And so you're having one fly on the top, and you drop that little nymph off the bottom, and you're kind of best of both worlds, and you're able to suspend a fly, which can be real helpful. Some sort of little leech pattern is always something that in the mornings, on cloudy days, 9 times out of 10, I'm starting with that.
Like a little woolly bugger?
Yeah, like a little woolly bugger. Oftentimes we kind of skip, again, getting down is important here quickly. And so sometimes having that extra hackle wrap in there, it slows your descent because of that resistance. And so something a little more slim profiled. So just like a little bunny leech or a slump buster, something small that gets down quickly, I think is really helpful to have. When the bugs are hatching, like obviously it's matching the hatch, but that's not the case throughout the entire year. If you're chasing dry fly fishing, you can do that and fish on the surface. But if you're really wanting to catch a lot of fish here, you got to learn how to nymph, which is using that weighted fly to get down below the surface, down to those fish, because unfortunately not every day is nice and cloudy, and
Yeah, when he's talking
They're
about
coming to the surface.
these pockets, I mean, they might honestly be the size of a basketball hoop. Because some of these, well, even Doug was telling me he's got a creek, and they surveyed it, and there was trout in it. And I said, well, can I go over there and fish it? And he's like, well, it's only 2 feet wide or
You
3 feet
literally
wide.
stand on both sides
Yeah,
of it.
but that's what a lot of them look like.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and it's grown over right now.
Right.
You basically can't see. I fell into it,
Yeah.
and it was over
'Cause
my
you didn't
knees
see
deep,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
couldn't see it. But that's how small some of these creeks are that are holding, 12, 14-inch
Yeah.
brown trout. Tell us about this region. Tell us about the Driftless, the geography of this place, the landscape.
Well, when I start talking about the Driftless, you have to stop me when I go too far down this rabbit hole. But the first thing that I'll say about the Driftless area is it was formed by erosion, not by eruption. So this was a great sea bottom. And in the glacial age, these glaciers came from the north and mostly east, stopped, and when that water melted, it formed the Driftless. So the water flowed up over the top and formed these what are called cuestas, Cuesta, cuestas. And a cuesta is a land formation that has a rough side and a smooth side. You go 3/4 of a mile up here, and you'll find County Highway S, that is the road that follows the top of that cuesta. And on the south side of that cuesta is Willow Creek. And as we all found out today, Willow Creek has the beautiful rock outcroppings and the sandstone and everything that you see. That's because the water flowed over and formed those valleys, and then there was the water that rushed back, literally right up here, and came over the top. So it has a rough side, the Willow Creek side, and the smooth side, the McGlynn Creek side, and the Baraboo. So I always like to say that our farm's on the smooth side.
Smooth operator.
But those are the lobes that form the Driftless. And it was, again, if you go up on top of this ridge over here where the lone oak is and look across, and any evening, it's like you can see forever. But what you don't realize is between here and forever are all of these little valleys that have been formed by that erosion that happened first with the glaciers, but then continued to happen because of the springs that erupted and were a part of the formation of this, and then continued, that water that continued to flow, and that continues to flow to this day. There's another part of it is called karst topography. Because it was a ocean bottom, there's a lot of layers of limestone, and you see that when you see the classic sort of driftless limestone, like we were at Rockbridge today, the classic limestone.
Just beautiful bluffs.
Beautiful bluffs, and it's this peninsula that's out in it, and you can see the layers in there, right? And that because it was a ocean bottom and all that stuff, and you can go in there and you can start finding fossils and lime and different layers of different things, and you find all this. So what an interesting thing that this area was formed by this erosion, not by eruption when we think about mountains, yet it's very hilly and very varied terrain and very different terrain from right here on our farm where the water flows north, as I like to say, like the Nile River. And you go up over the hill, and
it's almost the same size.
It's well, eventually, and then flows north and takes this long water that comes out of the ground a quarter mile apart up there, and it flows to the north on our side and goes through our bottom here in this watershed. It's it's an unnamed creek, but becomes a part of McGlynn Creek, which is the west branch of the Little Baraboo, and then it flows into the Little Baraboo, and then it becomes the Baraboo, and then it goes all the way around and goes by the Leopold Foundation and drops into the Wisconsin River. A quarter mile away, there's another spring that blows out. It's the same aquifer, drops down into Willow Creek, goes down to the Pine River, drops into the Wisconsin River. So this water is made completely different. That started in the same place, has made completely different routes to get to the big water, to the Wisconsin, to the Mississippi, down to the Gulf of Mexico. It never sees each other again, but yet it all started at the same place. And that's the beauty, to me, of the Driftless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You talk about the source of this water in the springs and the headwaters. Where that water ends up, it starts a quarter mile away, but where the water from the Willow enters the Wisconsin River, and where the water from the Baraboo enters the Wisconsin River, that's 100 miles apart.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's completely different parts of the state almost.
You could throw a rock from one spring to the other up there.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
And I think that lends a lot of importance to why the trout fishing is what it is here. Is these are like limestone spring creeks. The water can relatively consistent temperature throughout the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can go to the hillside and you can see the water bubbling up out of the ground. It's not like it's coming from snow melt or anything like that. It's coming from up out of the limestone and then coming to the surface and then flowing through. So that's why it's cold, clean, fishable water here. And that's what makes it so special, is that we have such a high density of these streams in such a small area. Each one of these valleys that Doug is talking about, each one of them has their own creek that runs in them, essentially.
Or multiple.
Or multiple, right.
Multiple springs that are filling the same chunk of water. This the main branch of our unnamed spring. It's a numbered stream that starts up here. Yet there's the one that goes up through our valley over here across. And when I was telling you the story earlier about the fisheries guys being here, and I was like, oh, brown trout. Well, that's cool. Brookies? He goes, well, we go further up. I'm sure we could find some.
For sure.
Because the brookies are native.
Yeah, the brookies are native.
Obviously, the browns and the rainbows aren't native to this continent, so they're not.
Correct.
Exactly. Browns do really well.
Yeah.
And in the warm, I mean, now you got the dummy talking about it. I've got 2 experts here, 3 experts here, but it was a special day for me from a conservation standpoint when the fisheries guys from DNR came out here and they tested the water. I remember him stepping into the water and he looks at me and goes, well, it's cold enough. I said, for what? For trout? When I was a kid, it was a big, wide, shallow, muddy, shitty stream because of the cattle that we had in it. Changes in our land practices resulted in, and a couple of things that we did through the Natural Resource Conservation Service, a spring protection program and that kind of stuff. But really just sort of, well, we don't want to do that anymore. We want to be better at this, right? Do better for the land. Those guys walked through that 100 meters of water, and boy, 100 meters in these little streams isn't, as the crow flies, very far, right? And they're in there, they're mucking around, and they're doing the flow and the pH and all of this kind of stuff. And he goes, yeah, well, I think we'll do okay here. I was like, what do you mean? Because I'm like, you know, all excited about the stuff that I've done, the land management changes that we've had, CRP and lighter pasturing and all of that. So he goes, you know, it'll be all right. They went through this 100 meters, did all this mucking around in there, and it's, you know, because there are 3 dudes wandering through this little stream that's 2 feet wide. And I was like, now what? He goes, well, now we're going to shock it. I was like, so you go to a different spot, huh, that you haven't been through? He goes, you want to be humbled as a trout fisherman? Watch this. And they went through that same 100 meters where they had just done all this testing and everything, and they shocked it, and they pulled 15 brown trout out of there, the biggest one being 9 inches down to fish of the year. And I couldn't have been prouder as a landowner and a conservationist, and some of it was just intuitive, like we can do better, but some of it was intentional as well, that, oh my God, this has happened. And then to say, what can we do better? Where are the brook trout? And he goes, well, I think if we went further up, we could find them.
I think one of the things I like about this area so much is it just feels clean. Like the water's clean, the pastures are clean. You guys were talking about maybe not needing waders, but you better wear pants because there's brush and tall grass along every stream bank. I didn't see a single bare stream bank where erosion would be a real problem on any of the creeks that I fished today or yesterday.
Well, it's because we directed you to
the right
good
ones.
spots, but that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a change. I mean, there's been a lot of people who've bemoaned the changes to our area, right? That, oh, well, small farms and all that. But boy, I'll tell you what, there were the small dairy farms and all that stuff that I grew up with, this being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
We could have done better. We just didn't kind of realize it at the time. We did really good forestry work and timber work. We didn't do that great for water. But once we started to back away from, and again, not even intentionally, it's like, well, we're not going to pasture that many cattle. We're not going to have that many cattle in the barn. We're not going to do all of these things. It was just sort of like it began to make more sense, right? It was almost intuitive conservation. Like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't know there was a word for conservation, but I was learning it from my father and my grandfather and people from around here.
Yeah. People might be thinking, well, that's great that there's all these little creeks, but they're all running through private property and they're on these farms. Like, how do I access them? Eric, tell people what the access is like around here, because it's incredible.
Wisconsin is incredibly fortunate to have a kind of a variety of opportunity to get on trout water in particular. Many of those access points, of course, are those gravel pull-offs that'll have oftentimes a marker that will show you, some regulations or what kind of species you might encounter. there might also be some habitat restoration work that they'll outline for you and give you a little bit of info about. But in Wisconsin, you can also legally access trout water via any bridge, any public bridge. So those are additional access points. But then to take it one step further, I think more than anywhere else in the country, Wisconsin has the highest concentration of private landowners who have granted fishing easement access. And so these are not always the best marked, but there are these parcels of land where you can go from the highway or from the road, cross through a private parcel of land with the intention of accessing the fishable water that's on the other side. And I think it's something that I often take for granted because I grew up and learned to fly fish out here. And so it's always been part of my, or at least was always part of my early experience. But when you take a step back and map some of these things out, there's access all over the place. And we're incredibly fortunate that we have those opportunities. And it's something that we're really excited to, from a Trout Routes perspective, to be able to not only map and show people, but then help people find out where these access points actually are.
Every stream on there that has a public access point has it marked. So that's where I found where to go on Billings Creek, was looking at Trout Routes. And Billings Creek is also my first mark of a trout that
Excellent.
I caught.
Yeah.
So how
Nice.
cool. I like to collect things.
Yeah.
Now I want to collect pin drops across the country of where I caught a trout
I
on
dig that.
my
Yeah,
Trout
that's
Routes.
cool.
Yeah, I actually want to give a big shout out to all the anglers here that are using these waters, because I fish 3 different creeks and I'm always looking for trash. We've got a really cool program in Missouri called Stream Teams, and the whole premise is going out and cleaning up trash. And now whenever I'm on a creek, I'm always stream teaming, whether I'm there for that purpose or not. On Billings Creek, I found one plastic oil, like your quart of oil. I carried it out. That was the only piece of trash I saw. Not a beer can, not a empty plastic bag, not one piece of trash on the 2 creeks we were on today. So I thought that was pretty impressive too, that people are getting access to private land and they're doing a very good job from what I've seen of respecting it.
Yeah, that we touched on this when we were sitting around the fire last night, but I do think that there's a very well-regarded and a deep level of importance when it comes to this kind of access. It would be very easy for landowners to find ways to shut that off and to not allow people to walk through or walk down a trail to get to some of these creeks. But I think overall, whenever I am encountering anglers, they are all very fortunate to have those opportunities. And I think, you make a great point. I'm always very impressed by how well maintained these areas are and how much respect we have for it.
Yeah, and I think that brings up a great point too, in that this access that we have here is a privilege, right? It is to be respected, and I think the importance of Trout Routes in this game is something that will help continue this relationship we have with private landowners, because the easement is just that, an easement for fishing. It doesn't mean you can cut across their cornfield or walk anywhere you want on their property, because it is their property after all. And the importance of Trout Route is it does show you in a very real way where those easements are, where you can access.
Right.
And if you're outside of that, you're trespassing, right? And that's not cool, right? Because that's not part of the agreement.
Yep.
And if we want to
Bad for all of us.
yeah, and it is. It's bad for everyone, and it's bad for sportsmen. It's bad for anglers. It's bad, and that'll take away that great access that we have. That is a privilege, and it is so absolutely incredible. I think what makes the Driftless one of the most incredible places to trout fish, in my personal opinion, is the sheer amount of access to it, and that I've been fishing here my whole life, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface.
Well, you went to a new piece of water
I did,
today.
Absolutely.
And we went, and this was a piece of property that I've known about my whole life. I trout fished there when I was 12 years old. I'm 66 years old now, man. And that landowner, or the previous landowner, I should say, put that into a conservation easement before she sold it and passed. And what we saw today there was more of that stream being worked on as a result of it being in a conservation easement. And when you look at it on Trout Routes, you walk down and we started to fish up, and I said to the group, I'm going to walk up over here and take a look at what's going on with this other area. And on Trout Routes, it shows you the corridor that you have to walk up there. It was just really, I mean, I know the property, and hell, my cousin owns the land right next to it, so I could walk through anywhere. But any angler who came there, if they respect, I should say, the landowner's wishes and what they did for a conservation easement and how you can access property. And it was easy. I followed it. It was easy. I went up there, and it's not fishable right now because they're working on it. It was impressive as heck what they were doing and what it's going to be like, next year when they're done with it. And I'm a couple miles from it. That idea of that public-private partnership is so important, and that Trout Routes is celebrating it, emphasizing it, whatever. And then folks like you in your business and the guiding thing, there wasn't anything happening there that anybody couldn't have done themselves. But I could see that's the kind of thing that you would take someone there and say, well, here's a place that we can fish. I mean, what a great opportunity for everybody. And it's the same thing there. There's a farmer who's pasturing that land lightly, not over pasturing it, but to the kind of from our benefit as fishermen, we're in there going, this is nice because it's not, I don't have all this stuff growing up all around me. So I'm able to fish it. So they're getting the benefit of the pasturing. The public's getting the benefit of the access. The trout are getting the benefit of the good restoration work that's doing. What's wrong with this?
Right.
I couldn't figure out anything that was wrong with it. And it was obviously was respected. There wasn't anything up there. There was one piece of trash by the road that came off the road. I picked it up as we were leaving.
Right.
Yeah, using on X, any of the applications, hunt, fish, Trout Routes, to find places is one aspect of it. Another is knowing exactly where you stand once you're on that place.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so nice about what you were saying is you can look at this app now and know that you're within the easement. So you're not putting yourself in danger of trespassing. You're not upsetting that landowner, and you're not leaving, a bad mark for the rest of us that are going to follow you to that property. So again, I can't say enough about, using OnX and now seeing it applied to trout fishing. I can just hear Shags' wheels turning because he loves trout as much as anyone I know. I wish he was here.
Yeah, when are we going to get Shags here? Hey,
We'll get him up
Shags,
here,
Shags, you got to come up here. And
Well,
hang
now
out.
that we've got some fishing guides saying come up and fish, like it's pretty easy to get him up. Pretty easy to get him up here.
And he's a big dude.
Oh, he makes you look small.
Yeah. We'll take him up to Bunker Hill, see how he can hang out up
Yeah,
there.
Kyle came over and checked out my camper, and I said when I bought that camper, I had Shags test the bunk beds. I was like, if he can do it, anyone can do it. So it works in there. One thing I was looking in Trout Routes, and I don't think it's there. Maybe it is, and I couldn't find it. Any fishing information for the waters? Does flies to use?
That's a good point.
Is that there, or is it coming?
It's not quite there.
Okay.
We have a lot of river description and a lot of other information in there to help anglers get a sense of the water. Here in the Driftless, we don't have near as many stream gauges on these streams as you might find elsewhere, but that is one set of data that we've incorporated to help folks try to understand, what are the current conditions. What does that mean in relation to historic data? And we integrate all of that in real time from sources like USGS or some other state-managed stream gauge sources. But all of the data within Trout Routes is not being influenced or added to by any of our users. So we don't ask for and we don't incorporate any user-generated content. So anything that you might plug in, you were talking about dropping some pins earlier. Any of that information remains private to your account. So we're not interested in sharing people's spots. We're not interested in telling people exactly where a fish might be. We are really honing in on what are the boundaries of this water. So exactly mapping the streamlines. and then showing you either easement access boundaries or where exactly those public and private land boundaries are. It's tricky too, I think, because a lot of, say, a fly suggestion or recommendation is very dependent on the season, on the level of water, whether or not it has just rained, and if the water is clear, if it's off-colored. But we are exploring some opportunities to find some more of that information and make sure that we incorporate it in the right way.
Like a hatch chart.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's what guides and fly
Use
shops
this
are for.
fly
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Right. I just wanted to say that. Let's not get too far down that road. I want my guiding buddies to also.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great transition. That's a great point that I've been thinking about too. You know, these technologies, they definitely provide some of the information that you're typically paid to provide, like where to go, where to enter, where to do things. I think as a guide, the best thing you can do is figure out how to integrate it into your business. And how have you been doing that? How do you, I guess as a guide, it would be very frustrating to be out in a boat and have people dropping pens on the spots that you take them to.
Very much so.
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And when Trout Routes, kind of first came on the scene, man, everybody was up in arms. I mean, people were upset. They're like, well, what this is. But in reality, if you did the work, all that information was attainable. It's all out there. You just maybe had to go to, you had to own 3 different books and go to, dig deep into the archives of the stocking data, or you had to do the work. And I get out that may upset some people who have done that work and found the access the hard way and maybe found their secret access spot. But at the end of the day, like, this is all public easement, right? We're all supposed to have access to it, and it should be known. And sometimes as a guide, like, back before this existed, we knew some of those sneakier spots, and so yeah, sure, it maybe added a little more pressure to the areas that maybe my secret honey hole.
But you took people to that secret honey hole, and they marked it on their gazetteer or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's sort of like, but when I work with a guide, it's like I want to be taught. What I learned from a guide is how to put what fly, but also on that particular day, because the wealth of knowledge. I mean, what I learned from you today, good God, I just want to do the Vulcan mind thing where I got sucked everything out of your brain and put it into mine. But that's what you hire a guide for.
Yes.
Is to take you there and help you be a better angler at that time on that spot with those flies, and here's why. Market it on the map. And if anything, from what I've seen, is that what Trout Routes does is spread the pressure out.
Absolutely.
I took you on a stream today you've never been on before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That you could have found on
Sure.
Trout Routes, and we're not going to tell you where that was. But figure it out.
Yeah.
And but what an interesting. For me, it's like all these things coming to me at once today. And I wasn't even fishing. I was just hanging around watching and learning from you guys and how you were doing it. And I'm like, oh, well, I can do that. I can't do that, or I got to get better at that. And that's why I get involved with a guide.
Yeah.
Not, here's the map.
Right. Because, like people will reach out and be like, or you walk into a fly shop, right? And you talk to the guy at the desk, and you're like, or, at the counter, and you're like, hey man, like, I'm here, I want to go fishing, could you drop me a couple spots? Well, of course they want you to come in there, and they're the experts of the area. Of course they want to help you out. They're going to give you a couple spots. It doesn't mean you're going to go there and catch any fish, right? There might be fish there, but if
There's
you
a creek over
here,
here.
I agree with Doug on this one. Like I think you'd be a little insecure as a guide if that's what, if you thought that this was taking away your value, right? Like the fact that we all now know. I mean, shit. There's been times where like I found new easements, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is great. Like I've always I've been walking a mile this way to get properly access this, and then, I can sneak in here. This is great, and like, and so I don't think that providing accurate data on where we legally can access the water as a general public is a threat.
Yeah, through the podcast, we're fortunate to know a number of guides that we've had on over the years, and some of them have become good friends that we fish with a lot. We always promote the idea of getting a guide when you go to a new water.
Yeah.
But nobody, well, I shouldn't use nobody, but very few people are like, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to get a guide when I get there. They know where they want to go already.
Right.
And then they hire the guide. And when they go out with that guide and learn, hopefully they'll take that and apply it their own selves. But they're probably going to go back with that guide to learn more, then go apply that and come back and learn more. And that's how I personally like to use the guiding experiences. Make me better. Like, let's start here this first time. I'm going to go out and do it myself a few times. Let's go together again, up my game some more on this particular piece of water.
Absolutely. And what Doug was saying about dispersing that pressure around when you know more spots to go, right? And I'm more concerned about having more access to continue to spread that pressure out so that we all have our little valley to ourselves, that I am worried about someone finding my spot or like making sure that this landowner access program continues successfully because people aren't running around trespassing where they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, doing dumb things.
Walking through someone's yard, right? It's there's no excuse to trespass anymore.
When you have the corridor marked on the map.
We have the technology; it's in your pocket. If you had the old book, it's like, well, this kind of looks like where I am. Like, there was maybe a little, and sometimes an honest mistake of like, oh, I thought this is where I was accessing, and it's not. There's no excuse for that anymore. And so, like, as users of the resource, it's our responsibility to make sure that we're following the rules there, or we're going to lose our access.
I want to say something else about that. Completely different world that I was involved with. Business world that I was involved with, and the guy that I worked for, the company, the president of the company said, I want you to understand something, that an educated client is your best client because they value what it is that you provide to them, and that is expertise. And again, that's it seems to me from a guide perspective. When I was sitting listening to you today and I recorded a little thing and I posted it on my Instagram page, Kyle just talking about rocks and hatches and the different kind of bugs that are growing and how they're doing. And I'm just like listening. And I wish I'd recorded the whole thing. I just put up a 30-second snippet, but I was like, holy crap, this is a guy who's spent his life doing this. Mm. And I'm not going to spend my life doing that. I'm a dabbler. It's like when I play with musicians like Adam Grewal or Dave Simonet or any of those guys, they spend their life doing it, and I get to just step in there for a minute, and I value that experience and that opportunity so much. And I felt like I was standing there listening to someone like those musicians that I know when I was listening to you today, and I'm like, I'd hire that guy.
I was making that all up, Doug.
No, you weren't, man. I knew that was coming from.
That's a three-toed lizard beetle.
I know enough about it that I also knew it wasn't bullshit.
Right.
And if it was bullshit, you're really good at it.
Yeah. Well, without giving away these little creeks that we're fishing here, people can find them themselves on Trout Routes. Viroqua, we're a little ways away from there. That's kind of known as a destination amongst fly anglers. Mm-hmm. There's the Driftless angler over there. For people that are listening now and thinking, man, I want to come up there and fish, like, what are just a couple of the more known streams that people might start looking at on Trout Routes?
I think Viroqua is probably the most popular jumping off point. And quite honestly, anything within 15, 20-minute drive of Viroqua, you're going to be able to get in some good fish. I think perhaps one of the better known trout rivers would be the West Fork of the Kickapoo, just because it's got a lot of access work done for it, as well as a lot of habitat restoration done on it. And you have the ability to get into a number of different kinds of trout water. You can find some of those shallower, narrower sections. You can find some of those wider, deeper sections. But I would say Baroque was a great jumping off point. Something else that we do in Trout Routes is roll together all of those classification systems that people might be familiar with. So I would say that would be another really helpful way if you're just getting into this region, would be to take a look at the different color coordinated classifications that we've made for this.
So, okay, that's a good point that I hadn't thought about. Those classifications that are on the streams and Trout Routes, those are your classifications, not the DNRs?
Yeah, they will match very closely to what a DNR or a state agency might use to classify their trout water. But what we've tried to do is take the Wisconsin DNR set of classifications and roll it together with what the state of Colorado might do for their trout rivers and streams, and elevate in many circumstances water that has more or more frequent amounts of public access, and in some cases downgrade some water that has maybe very little access or might only have a single access point or is really hard to get to. So it doesn't always translate one-to-one, but what we're hoping to do is give folks an idea of the water that's going to have more abundant trout, healthier trout populations, more habitat, versus water that might be more challenging, might be a little more seasonal in the case of something like a Class 3 trout water or trout river.
So, for example, in Missouri, some of my favorite waters that would be classified as blue ribbon. Mm-hmm. If I go click on a blue ribbon in Missouri, it's not going to say blue ribbon. It's going to say Class 1.
No, it would be a blue ribbon or a gold medal. That would
okay.
be our top tier classification. Yeah, and for those very obvious gold medal or blue ribbon waters, those are all going to translate into the same in Trout Routes.
Because I was just seeing Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, not those kind of naming systems.
Yeah, the naming convention might be slightly different, but I would imagine that anything that would be considered blue ribbon in your state would be our highest classified trout water.
How do people get Trout Routes?
You can find us in the app stores. We're on iOS and Android. But what's also really interesting and I think pretty cool about the platform is that you can also find us on the web, and you can log into the web version of Trout Routes, and your Trout Routes account will travel with you no matter what device you're logging into. But so, of course, find us in the app stores, but you can also find us online at troutroutes.com and check us out there.
What's a membership?
Right now, we've got a national membership, which is our pro level, which gives you access to every state in the lower 48 for $58.99 for a full year. But we, over the summer, released a single state version of that. So if you're only really interested in one state, you can get that same level of data access for $19.99.
Wow. And if people want to come up and fish with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Best way is go to the website. It's blackearthangling.com. We're pretty active on Instagram as well. Handles Black Earth Angling Co. That's the best way to do it. Go on there, check out what we got going on. We do all sorts of really unique fishing trips, multi-day trips, all sorts of fun stuff for all the species we have swimming around here.
Yeah.
For the most part, if you can chase it on a fly rod, we pretty much do it here. So
we're kind of going to do a tease on this podcast with a bunch of people that I'm going to have back on the podcast for a full length. And I definitely want to get you back on, talk about some of the South America stuff and all the adventure fly fishing that you've done. But now I think we'll take a break and maybe swap out a couple guests and drag a few others in from the fire.
Maybe refresh our drinks.
Yeah, I'll get some more water, Doug. All right, thank you, Eric, for having us here. This is really cool, man. Like it's definitely a platform I'm going to use. I'm going to introduce a lot of people to it, and I just think everything that Onyx is doing, and now this iteration with Trout it's just awesome.
Thank you. I'm really happy you were able to join us. It was a lot of fun getting to spend some time with you on the water today, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Yeah, and What'd you catch today? 6 or 7 trout? You did pretty good today.
We had a pretty good day. Yeah, it was by the end of it, it was probably closer to 8 or 10. But
Just salt in the
certainly-
wound, buddy.
Immediately
Salt in the
correcting
wound.
up.
Yeah, sorry.
Kyle, how'd you do today?
I did all right. Got
Yeah, you did all
couple
right.
nice
Caught a
ones.
couple.
I took a nap
Yeah.
for 2 hours. It was amazing.
I was like a UN observer
Yep.
today.
I took a nap today. It was great.
That's all right.
All right,
We'll get you out
fellas.
here.
Cool.
Thanks a lot.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Well, we've got 2 new guests. We drug you in from the fire. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having us.
We'll go ladies first. Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sarah. I've been in Wisconsin for, almost 30 years, but came from the West and love everything about the Midwest. So fishing here is amazing.
I like that. A Western transplant to the Midwest. I joked in the last segment that, I moved out west and I did all the right things, bought the North Face, learned how to say the words, but the Midwest just drugged me home. I just love it here. So, yeah, that's interesting. You're from Boise originally?
Yep.
Spent some time in Montana, too.
That is true. Big sky.
How does the fishing here compare to what everybody sees and the river runs through it out west?
It's a lot more, I think, technical here in that you have to know what you're doing, but I think that there's less pressure. So, like, you have people, like, you get to go wherever you want to go, and you can see, like, riffle run pool, you can see fish. You're not necessarily competing with everyone else, and it just feels more intimate here, I think, than out west.
Now that we've met the better half.
Yeah, she's in control.
We brought the star first. Now
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I belong to her, the Sarah. My name's Tim Landwehr, and I own Tightlines Fly Fishing Company in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I met Sarah in Big Sky, Montana. I dragged her from the West back to the Midwest here.
Man, that's a hell of a salesman.
Yes.
From from Big Sky to Green Bay.
Yeah. You know what the sale was, though? She did say when she found the Driftless, when we finally brought her down to the Driftless, she was like, well, she misses her mountains. But, like, there was some of this still here. So if we were going to have a place, we had a place down here.
Yes.
Look, I'm probably going to get hit by lightning when I say this, so you guys might want to move away a little bit. But as a lifelong Chicago Bears fan, having struggled my whole life
Podcast
through the turmoil, I got to go to Green Bay with my boss Al, and he took us on the VIP tour.
Oh,
I got to go
nice.
out on the field. I got to go into the Hall of Fame, and it worked. I hate the Packers just a little bit less now.
That's all I can ask for.
Hey, you know what? If you want to be a Bears fan, how's that going for you?
Not good. Not good. I mean,
Kind of the same.
I'm a Purdue
applaud your
grad, so
dedication.
I love this part of the year because we can beat up on a couple of teams before we get into the Big Ten schedule.
You'd probably beat Wisconsin this year if you play them.
In the second grade, I got to be Jim McMahon in a rendition of the Super Bowl Shuffle. So
Really?
when I was about
Like a
8,
talent show?
yeah, I'm the punky QB. I can
love
throw the pill, So
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, in the talent show, our dads bought us all the jerseys, and we did the Super Bowl Shuffle, and it has been a downward
old are
slide, downward slide ever since.
That's 1985, right?
We had 85 Bears. They won the Super Bowl in January '86.
Right. That was my first year of teaching high school in New Hampshire. And who did they beat in the Super Bowl?
They beat
Let me rephrase
the
that.
Patriots.
Who did they pummel in the Super Bowl?
42-10.
Yeah, they
wow.
pummeled.
Walter-
And I
There
was
was a
teaching
beatdown.
in northern New Hampshire, and in the spring of that year, the New England Patriots came to our, on one of those fundraiser things.
Do you know what the tragedy of that game is, though?
What's that?
They never let Walter Payton score a touchdown.
They did not refrigerator Perry.
They gave the ball to the fridge.
The fridge.
The
That
fridge
was
got
sad.
in, which
That is a
that's an
tragedy.
iconic moment.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this.
But Walter Payton, the
you
greatest,
were a little
the
kid.
greatest. Yeah, I was second grade.
Yeah, well, I was a full-grown man teaching
You
high
are.
school.
You're
wow.
exactly
Oh
20
my
years.
God, am I old?
No, you're still in the prime of it, Doug. You're exactly 20 years older than me.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that doesn't seem so bad.
It's not.
you look damn
It's
good,
not at
though,
all.
Doug.
Brandon,
you look
I
damn
remember-
Well,
good.
thank you for saying that.
That's
I feel
all right.
better now.
Yeah,
Coming
good,
from
good,
you, especially.
Good. Thank you. I figured.
I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle and remembering watching it the next season and being so disappointed that they didn't do it again.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
guess what? They haven't done it again.
They got back. They got back one time, but we didn't.
When
win,
was that?
So
yeah.
that would have been in like 2008 or 9, 2008, 2009.
I don't remember that, but
They would have won. Kyle Orton was a Purdue quarterback that followed Drew Brees. So I was at Purdue with Drew Brees. Man, we're digressing from fishing, aren't we?
Anywho,
We are digressing.
Go on.
And they ended up putting Rex Grossman back in. And if they would have left Kyle Orton in, we would have won the Super Bowl. That's it. Now back to fishing.
I think you were going to tell us how you went to Lambeau and did the whole tour, and you're now a converted Packer.
No, not at all.
no, he hates him a little bit less.
Yeah,
is what
I hate him a little bit less.
All right, let's move on before we get
Right.
into fisticuffs.
Oh my God.
But, man, I do want to go to a game at Lambeau, Bears-Packers in the snow. That's
Well,
a bucket list.
hey,
Bears-Packers in the snow.
In your experience at Lambeau, I will say, like everybody that has ever been there during a game, like we have great fans.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I mean, it's
because
a cool
the fans
place
own
to
the
watch
team.
football.
The
It's a
fan-
great place to watch football.
No, everything about the franchise is awesome, except they beat the Bears almost every time they play them.
That's
So-
the most awesome part of the franchise, actually.
All right, Green Bay.
Yeah.
So smallmouth,
Oh, this is going to be a great segue.
muskies, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when I asked, the first thing I asked you was about muskie. I've been
Yeah.
reading about kind of the exploding muskie fishery that is Green Bay. You said you do a little bit of that, but you're mostly another smallmouth guy.
Yeah. I mean, primarily our shop, we do trout trips, but we primarily run smallmouth bass trips. That's what we're really known for. However, tons of muskie. You know, like the Hayward. You and I talked a little bit. Like the Hayward area is kind of that epicenter of, Wisconsin muskie. You know, they've got the museum there and all of that stuff. But boy, even just like close to us, where the shop is located in Green Bay, we have small river muskie fishing. But then we have the Bay of Green Bay and Lake Michigan, which is where these gigantic spotted muskies are. You know, this Lake Michigan strain that are huge. And, the next world record could very likely come out of the Bay of Green Bay.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's spectacular.
So where are you doing your smallmouth fishing?
Mostly rivers of northeastern Wisconsin. That's what we've been known for. So, border
Could you
rivers.
be more specific, please?
The rivers of northeastern Wisconsin, as I had
has
just
signed
said
an
prior
NDA.
to that. Yeah. Would you like the Trout Routes pin? Is that what we're looking for here?
All right.
So rivers of northeastern Wisconsin, and like that is truly the thing. Sarah and I were talking about it. Some of our guides and I were talking about it. And the shop has been in business for 25 years.
Did you found it?
We did.
That's awesome,
Yep.
man.
Sarah and I opened the shop. We had just enough money to put down on our first house and lived in an apartment. And Sarah's like, "No, we should open the fly shop." And that's what happened 25 years ago.
Well, I've definitely heard of the shop. I mean, I've seen ads. I've heard about it. You told me you own tight lines. I was like, no kidding, man.
Yeah.
I know that shop.
greatest T-shirts that you'll ever find.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's like the Steal Your Face Grateful Dead thing with the Great Lakes on it, tight lines.
Maybe that's
it's pretty
why.
good.
So
Oh,
I'm
wait,
It's pretty
let me
good.
see that beer that you have over there.
Yeah,
Doesn't it have
there,
this
it's
similar thing.
It is. There it is.
You have
It
your
just
own
makes
beer?
an old
We have our own
deadhead
beer.
smile, man.
Yeah, we wrote a book on smallmouth. That's like one of the best-selling books that has been in smallmouth. And my favorite thing that's I've accomplished is I have a beer. That's number one.
Man, Doug, I know it'd be like asking you. Well, you only have one kid, right? So you know who your favorite kid is. So I was gonna say like it's asking you who your favorite kid is, but what's your favorite Grateful Dead song?
Scarlet Begonias.
I had a dog named Scarlet Begonia.
Well,
we called
once
her
in a
Begonia.
while, because
Yeah.
of the lion, once in a while you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right.
So Brown-Eyed Women has
And
been
Red Grenadine.
yeah. So
Bottle was dusty, but the
Raised
liquor
Day
was
Boys,
clean.
only I turned bad. Didn't get the lickings that the other ones had.
Yeah.
But So Many Roads is my
Oh,
favorite. And
I
it's
like it.
only the live version on Europe 72. They never studio recorded it, but in the ice, where the ice blue roses grow. So
That Europe 72 is a good one.
that's
man.
a good one. You got a favorite one?
Oh my God! There's just too many. I do know that when I came here to see Doug. This is a couple years ago, and I brought him a 4-pack of this beer, and I brought him one of the T-shirts that we had made.
That I
And
wear all the time.
You do wear all the time, but you did tell me, you said, I just can't wear it all the time because I'm afraid to wear it out. So I
Yeah,
got to make
yeah.
sure, like, before when I get back home, I'm gonna be sure to like
Send
make
me
sure to get
2X,
I'll get,
by the way.
okay. And they're more of an athletic cut. I
Well, he
believe
can send an XL, but
think that's what
you
they
know, I
say.
just
So
don't
do you
like
have,
to
do you
show
have a
it
favorite
off.
Grateful Dead song?
Broke Down Palace.
Oh, good one too. Sarah?
I'd have to say the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Look at that. See, that's why you guys are
We got a
together.
connection,
Fishing in
man.
the dead.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, but yeah, no, it's been a good run. Yeah, 25 years of this shop and the smallmouth thing has been crazy.
Yeah, and in talking to you last night, I mean, you're definitely a player in the fly fishing space. I mean, anybody that I knew, you're like, oh yeah, I've known that person for this long and that person, and Austin Aducci and Kevin
Yep.
Morlock and
Yep.
the whole like kind of Midwest mafia of fly fishing guides.
Well, and I think that's just one of those deals. I think that our space, probably much like the hunting world for Doug or any of the other people in this industry, is like, it seems like such a massive business, but it's just such a real tight group of people, and everybody runs into each other. And it's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
The business is micro.
And then you add a little music in there, and the next thing you know, it's like we know so many people in common
Absolutely.
because
That's
of
how we've got
music.
to be friends,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of
yeah.
music and stuff,
Yeah.
not just through conservation.
Well, staying in the Grateful Dead vein, I was fishing a rod today that was made in San Francisco in 1973, a bamboo Winston. It's my current pride and joy before the Phoenix shows up. My point being that there's not a ton, now you're probably going to push back on this, but from the outside looking in, there's not a ton of change in fly fishing. At the end of the day, we're still using a rod,
Yeah.
we're still using a line, we're still tying flies.
No, I'm agreeing 100%.
Yeah, the technology doesn't advance that fast. This Trout Routes is different. Like it is a major jump in technology for fly anglers to be able to look at this and say, okay, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know this was here. I can access this place by this. Like, how do you guys feel about Trout Routes, and how can you integrate it into what you do, like for fun and also professionally?
Well, Sarah,
I think it's awesome.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. Like everything we do anymore is in our hand. Like let's keep it that way. Like if it's offline, oftentimes when you're fishing, you're offline. Like, and that's where you should be. But yet, it's nice to be able to look at it and go, "Am I in the right spot? Like, can I fish here? Is this okay? You know?" And so I think it's amazing. I personally think it's amazing. Gone is the paper copies that we had to carry around in the car and figure out like how to get to X, Y, or Z location.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great point, Sarah. The other thing, we talked a little bit about it this morning, said the only thing that bums me out about Trout Routes is the fact that I used to be able to go up to these fishing spots and like kind of peruse into somebody's car and see if they had a gazetteer or the Wisconsin, like the Trout Atlas or
Yeah,
something. You'd
like
be
I've got sitting on the table over there. Yeah.
Exactly, where it's like, oh, this guy is angling and he's not mushroom hunting. But that being said, like the Trout Routes thing, and there's in my industry, there's some great and there's some not so great components to it.
Right.
I would say the great components outweigh the not so great components on a large scale. People getting into the world of fly fishing, it's really something, because I think about the customers that come into my store every day. Trout are almost like a unicorn to people who start fly fishing, to the point of like, I've talked to some of these guys who spent like the first 2 years and like hadn't caught one, like hadn't caught a trout, and it's
Like
tough.
me today.
Well,
It was rough out there.
I understand that.
I came back and took a nap to make up for it, though.
That sounds like a solid afternoon.
It was
but,
great.
But people struggle in this sport, and our sport really comes from the heritage of like. There's a lot of old timers in our sport, and when we learned how to fly fish, you better have been into the good old boys club somehow, or had a leg into that for somebody to take you under their wing, show you how to do it, show you a couple of spots, and give you the piece of success. Half of this sport is just knowing that you're fishing over trout. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what Trout Routes does offer. It's like, this is the quality of trout stream that you're on. These are the accesses and the
There's
easements.
fish in there.
There
You
are
have a
fish in
chance.
there.
I
You
need
have
a
a
guide
chance.
to tell me,
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
to show me how to get those fish
Correct.
to do what I want them to do. So the app really only gets you part of the way there.
Get you
It's your
part of the way.
ticket.
Well,
It's
it
your
gives you
ticket.
the where, but not the how.
God, it's so interesting. I learned so much today just like listening to you folks talk and Kyle talk. there's no other way to put it, as a novice trout fisherman, but a guy who's caught a lot of fish in trout streams around here, growing up with, spinners and chub tails and all that kind of stuff, and then only 7 or 8 years ago really getting into fly fishing because I want to make it difficult.
Right.
But
let's just add
but
that other
no,
dimension.
I want the zen of it.
Right.
I don't care what it is that I'm doing anymore. I want the zen of it, and the education part of it. Trout Routes doesn't give you that. It gives you the access and it spreads that pressure out. But I listened to Kyle talk today, and I posted a little thing on my Instagram when he was talking about how we'll turn a rock over after a little bit, and I'll show you some of the stuff that's going on. That's what a guide does.
Yes.
Teaches you about what is happening in that environment, in that ecosystem.
A guide is an educator, a counselor, an entomologist.
Yes, the counselor is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a
Really
real
good
solid
one.
one.
The first person that took me trout fishing was my cousin Mike, and he goes, "Let me hear you swear before we go out."
Let's see what it hears like. What it
Yeah, I
sounds
wanted
like.
to see what I was like. I mean, I did the 7 dirty words you can't say on television. He's like, "Okay, let's go." I
We
was
can
like,
do this
"Why?"
now.
He goes, "Well, you'll see shortly."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for you, and we'll dig much deeper into this when we get you on the podcast for a full session, but your Trout Routes needs to be international because you've fished across the globe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where are some, before, just to tease people about what we'll talk about next time, where are some of your favorite destinations that you've been running trips to for all these years?
Like not trout specific, any trips?
No, any
period?
kind of trips, yeah.
I would have to say we ran a whole bunch of trips in South America. We did a bunch of trips to the Amazon. I've been to the Amazon like 12 or 13 times.
Peacock bass.
Peacock bass, Arapaima in Colombia and Guyana. And then I think the most exotic that we did was Bolivia, the Chimani. We stayed with the Oromoma and the
Oh, where
Chimani.
Steve
and
goes?
Yeah, Steve is going. I've gone to
Like
the
that
same.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about Steve Ronell.
Yeah.
I want to be friends with you.
Yeah,
man.
we can do some of these trips.
So
So,
that's
yeah.
the only place I've ever heard of that.
So-
before,
Yeah,
is
no,
the-
believe me.
Chumani.
Yeah.
But I've
Yeah.
been there, and it was an interesting. Some of those places are just beyond, and that's kind of that Zen part that you were talking about just a minute ago. We have all these customers that fishing is such the primary focus. Like, how many fish do we catch and stuff, and like. You go to some of these places, and we had one specific instance in Bolivia with this group where the chief had invited myself and one other person to come to meet. And I got to choose, somebody in our group to come. And he chose not to do it because he's like, well, I'm going to miss that day of fishing. Well, these people are like, this is the most interesting culture I've ever seen. They are 100% sustenance livers. Like, they shoot longbows and everything is fish. And like, we got to go. I was the only one who went, and he brought me in there, and they had a howler monkey on a spit. So they were cooking lunch for me.
Lunch with the monkey.
Yeah, and it was a big deal because like they were preparing this. And
it was an honor for you.
It was a huge honor.
Yeah, man.
Did you eat the monkey?
I did.
How was it?
I just swallowed it. I don't know if I even touched the taste bud, but I do remember it was like a kindergartner on a spit spinning around, and I'm like, this is a hard way. I'll eat just about anything. Primates is kind of where it's like, ooh, all right. Like, now,
Sorry, brother.
All I can picture is Indiana,
Sorry, brother.
Indiana Jones when they take the monkey's head
absolutely.
off in Indiana Jones. Oh, man. no.
But what I'm getting at, when you get back to the Zen thing, it's like so many of these people kind of miss the whole focus on what it was. And we saw a bunch of that today. How much fun today was with the group we had, because there's a lot of camaraderie, just BSing, taking turns. Sarah, Kyle, and I just kind of fished and played baseball. We call it, you fish, I fish, and that's what it's about.
Well, then we gathered at the park and we
Yeah.
had like a little picnic, and this doesn't have to be a huge dollar thing.
I'm going to say this. Next time I'm fishing. I mean, today was I felt like my job was to be the host and just kind of make sure everything was happening that Trout Routes wanted and that whole thing. Walking down there, bringing my dog along, you guys, and watching that whole thing. And my face hurts from smiling.
It was
today.
good stuff.
It was fun.
was
It
good
really
It was
stuff.
really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Trout Routes opened up doors to rivers that I don't think we'd seen in a long time.
Or
know?
maybe not a fish.
Or mayed never
Not even
fished,
considered.
or
Not even considered.
Exactly. But we were like, take a left here, take a right here. Here's the easement, in we go. You know, it was awesome.
One of the fun things, Sarah, that Eric had said earlier today is he had us turn on one of the specific layers that was on the work projects that have been done, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden,
Oh,
boom,
yeah, the
these little
habitat.
habitat
Little
projects.
shovels show up.
Little shovels show up,
right.
On
and
your map.
it was really cool because Doug, you and I were talking about like different habitat that we see. Our cabin is in Vernon County. This is in a different county, different stuff, and the habitat difference between how these rivers are maintained and how they all look. That was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, just to tie that together for people, like what he's telling you is look for those shovels because
Yeah.
that's where the stream restoration work has taken place
Yeah.
to make the right habitat for the trout.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's where they live.
that's where they live.
And you
That's where-
you see your Trout Unlimited dollars at work. You see your tax dollars at work. You see conservation dollars and conservation efforts, and those are the kinds of things that, as an angler, you should be. I would say that you should be supporting, and that at a real intense level should be getting involved with and helping out with those opportunities when you have that. And as we went through all that today, there's so much going on in my head because friends who, like you folks that are guides, and I was like, well, I don't want this to be a threat to you folks or anything like that. But then I over the last couple of years, I've seen this as it's spreading pressure out. It's showing anglers where opportunities are. And as I said in the previous discussion that we were having, an educated client is your best client because they're going to value what you do. And I saw that value today with you and Kyle and Sarah out there doing different things. And I was like, I was learning a lot from you today. I was like, well, shit, I would have paid for this.
Sure.
Not just be the host of it.
I'd like to just make a comment on something you said a second ago, Doug. You mentioned that it spreads the pressure out. And I think I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think so many people walk into a shop and it's real easy for us to say in some ways, oh, go to X, Y, or Z stream. Because those are the most popular streams in the area.
And you're not giving anything away at that point.
Exactly. You're not giving anything away, or you're talking to your friend, or you're talking to somebody you saw on a stream, like, oh, I just came from X, Y, or Z stream. And so you concentrate that pressure in that area, and then you forget about everything else. So Trout Routes opens up the door, just like you said. It distributes the pressure, and it exposes more people to the joy of fishing in our area without having to piggyback off of somebody else.
That's a super good point, Sarah,
Absolutely,
because there is some of those things where somebody gets complacent in their fishing. And what I mean is, like, maybe they're just fishing this specific, this is their beat. This is where they come down here and they fish. And they get there and there are 3 cars there. It's like, oh man, I don't have a plan B. Where here you could simply, like, where am I? And it's like, well, there's 3 or 4 other streams nearby that I don't know, but like I'm gonna go check that out. So yeah, there's some great merit in that.
It was so interesting to me today to have you folks there on a piece of a stream. I went to grade school.
Yeah, you showed us, like you said.
That's
I went
St.
to school.
Anthony's.
Yeah.
Oh, bleep that out.
Oops.
But that was a big deal to me. I trout fished that when I was 10 years old.
That's awesome.
No, you definitely put together
And I hadn't been there for
a group of anglers that can show the power of this trout route.
Oh, it works. Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, it's so cool to see you guys catching fish there and doing all of that. And I mean, in a way that I never did. And in a way that I never did. And that was the part, that was like every little synapse was just firing away there for a while. And it was, oh man, beautiful memory today of that little spot.
Excellent.
That's good.
It was excellent.
All right, well, we better swap out one more time and get back out to the fire. We have so much to talk about. This is going long on us.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. Can't wait to come up and see you guys.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Door County. I know Doug has a love for Door County. I can't wait to bring Lauren up
Spent
there
a
and
little time there. Yeah.
show her that part. I'll put Door County up against just about anywhere when it comes to pretty. That's a beautiful place,
Beautiful
man.
part of the world.
Sure is. So always something to do in Wisconsin, man.
Oh, yeah.
Love
It's as good as it
Wisconsin.
And I
Yes.
like that you say Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Go Pack, go.
You ain't from
Go
around
Pack,
here,
go.
are you?
Chicago boy. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Rand.
Thank you, Brandon.
We're back for segment 3. We're drawing people in from the fire. I want to get out there, so we're going to try to get through this pretty quick. We talked to Eric a lot about Trout Routes, how it works. We had Tim and Sarah come in and tell us how they used it. And definitely want to pick your guys' brains about it, too. You do a lot of fishing in this area. Lyndsey, you work with Doug. We just retired Doug and sent him to the fire. So we've brought in Doug's replacement. And we thank Mr. Duren for the hospitality.
Yes.
What an incredible event he put together. But you're really the woman behind that cooked and cleaned and got everything ready for us. So thank you. This has
Yes.
been an amazing little get-together.
Absolutely.
So let's just do quick introductions. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
My name's Zach Heredia. I'm buddies with Doug and Lyndsey, and just through the grapevine, we met up and hung out a little bit, and now we've been doing some fishing and hunting together, and just like being up here and hanging out with folks, and it's a cool scene and fun to be a part of some conservation. I've been a lifelong consumer of the outdoors and enjoyed it my entire life, and wanted to be a part of maybe a little bit more of the conservation aspect of it, but didn't really know how to or what to. And
Doug is like a light, and we're all
For
the
sure,
moths,
yeah.
like just coming to the light, So, Lyndsey,
I am Lyndsey Braun, and I actually live in Washington State. And I am Doug's colleague with Sharing the Land. And so I'm here helping out, doing whatever. And I actually don't trout fish. I know absolutely nothing about it. So this has been really a great experience to kind of listen in, see some of the conservation work that's been done in this area, and hear people talk about it and just kind of soak it all in and learn from that.
yeah, you don't meet a ton of people from the Pacific Northwest that are like, check out the blacktail that I killed last year. So, like, you might not be a
little
trout
different.
fisherman,
I'm
but
not a
you're
trout. Yes. Yeah.
born and raised in Alaska.
Yes.
Without indoor plumbing. I mean, you are the real deal when it comes to outdoor life.
I mean, half of my life I spent in Alaska, going back and forth between Washington and Alaska, and we were commercial fishermen and lived out on a place called Graveyard Point in Naknek, Alaska. And we didn't have running water, power out there. And even in the town that we lived in called Moose Pass, it was a population of about 50 people. And during the winter, we often didn't have running water, power, things like that. And so, yeah, I had a very interesting upbringing. And
Now, looking back, would you trade that for growing up in some suburb house outside of a city?
no,
Right. That's
No,
the
the
beauty of it, right?
experience-
would you have then, though? Would you have done that
No,
as
I
a
didn't know any different.
17-year-old?
nope,
Okay,
didn't know any different.
that's cool.
I mean, and what was so interesting is that we went back and forth for so long that even as a 17-year-old, like when I'd go back, it's like I craved going back. Like I needed to go back because I was honestly overstimulated by population. I still am.
I am too. Yeah.
Like that.
That's why I live in a county of 8,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, and being out here and experiencing a kind of the small town life again, because I haven't been back to Alaska that much lately. So
I've never been. I'm
you
afraid to
need
go
get there. Don't why?
because I'll move there. I'll come home.
that's
I'll
a
pack.
good
I
thing.
know.
You were
Well,
talking about it today.
There's
Yeah.
plans.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
plans.
There's plans.
There's definitely not. Like I said, I don't think it would ever be a full-time thing, but fortunately, I'm getting to a place in life where remote work is real in today's world.
It's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, moving up there and spending, I've got it all planned out, So you do June through September in Alaska, then you come back to the Midwest to enjoy October, November, maybe December. I like sticking around for Christmas. I like snow at Christmas. And then hitting somewhere warm, January, February, March, and then being in Missouri again for April and May for turkey hunting, then go back to Alaska and start it again.
See, I was trying to convince you for May, but I couldn't quite.
No, see, I
See,
need
turkey
turkey
hunt, yeah.
hunting, and I travel to turkey hunt, so I'll be somewhere turkey
yeah.
hunting. Lucas, didn't get to meet you very much, man, but thanks
Yeah.
for cooking tonight. I mean, I'm supposed to ask like who's Razzle and who's Dazzle. So
I'm definitely a razzle.
you're Razzle and he's Dazzle.
I'm
Okay,
Dazzle.
so
Lucas Aker, just been, like you said, drawn to the light of Doug. Kind of sucked in, got involved in a bunch of different activities up here through conservation, and just been coming back time after time again. It's just been a good time getting to know Doug and all the associated people that kind of gravitate towards Doug.
that's
So,
awesome. Now you big fisherman?
not a ton. Zach and I have gone to Argentina once. We're going again this fall, I guess I would say.
Well,
Spring,
it's their
whatever
fall,
it is. there.
March. We're going. Yeah.
You're going in March. We're going next October. Me and
Okay.
Shags and a couple guys.
Okay.
We're not going for trout though. We're going up north and going for golden dorado.
That's on
Oh,
the list.
nice, yeah. I've done a lot of fishing growing up, just not a lot of fly fishing or anything else like that until Zach got me kind of into it lately.
Are you from around here?
Yeah, from the Black Earth area.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So, what did you guys think of the Trout Routes aspect of the event? I mean, I was new to it until just a couple of days ago. So this exposure's been really cool. I mean, for this area especially, where there's so many little creeks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very cool. It's such a helpful tool. This is a unique area in that I think it's uniquely suited. Maybe not only for this area, but like definitely it shines bright in an area like the Driftless, where every single valley has a different trout stream almost in it. You know, there's spring creeks everywhere. I grew up in Michigan, and you know, there was the major trout streams, the Pure Marquette, Muskegon, Manistee, Au Sable, all that kind of stuff. But here, it's like every time you go over a ridge, there's another spring creek, and there's like some really good fish in there. You know, like, I didn't really realize that growing up. We'd drive past here to go to Montana every summer, and there were some summers where we couldn't go to Montana, and it's like, had I known how good the fishing is here, we'd have jumped over here in 5 or 6 hours, and like the abundance in this area of trout streams that you just don't know. I guess I never knew how many good trout streams there were here. You know, there's what, almost 14,000 miles of trout streams in Wisconsin, something like that, and something like almost 5,000 miles of spring creeks, and not all of them, not every classification or not every trout stream that's, you know, got a type 1 classification or type 2 or whatever. So many of them are good that aren't getting funding from the DNR necessarily, or aren't. I guess what I'm saying is, don't look at it and just say, oh, that's a type 3, that's not good trout fishing. You know, like the headwaters of every little spring creek around here probably has fish in it. And
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Well, we were talking about Doug's little creek down here. It's completely grown over.
Yeah.
I fell in it. There's definitely
Right.
water in there,
Sure.
and there's trout in there. But I mean, they go from that size to where you can literally step across
Right.
to about the size of a road. You know,
Yep.
so there's nothing really big. It definitely lends itself to needing to spend much more than 2 days here. Because I'm like, okay, I want to fish this one, this one, this one. So you almost need to like pick a little area,
Right.
and use this trip to fish all of those little creeks.
But I mean, it's like, it's an impossible task.
It
you know
is.
what I
There's
mean?
so many of them.
And then it's just like this highway crossing, this highway crossing, this highway crossing. You know, so you spend a half a day fishing one bridge, and you know there's 9 bridges on this creek. You know, and yeah, there's a lifetime of fishing here.
Yeah. So are you into the trout routes as well? Have you gotten into the app and started using it to find some spots?
Just very recently downloaded it and started to look for some spots in the area. Not a ton, but just recently started to.
Yeah, I got it 2 days ago or
Yeah,
3 days
yeah.
ago, and I've already caught fish because of it. You know,
Yeah.
I was gonna go over to Viroqua, and I decided not to, and I just pulled it up, and I'm like, well, there's a state park right there. I can camp, and well, that's a green line, so that must be a good one, you know.
Right.
And as I'm learning about the different colorations and such, and I said my favorite thing that probably happened is I got to put my first pen into where I caught a fish. And now I want to just collect pens across the country. I want to like pull up. I want to be like, "How's your trout routes look?" You know, and there's pens everywhere.
From our brief time together, I can tell that's your psychology already. You're trying to stick pins in a lot of
I just
spots
want
on a lot of
pins.
stuff. Yeah,
That's right. That's
sure.
right. Now, have you enjoyed any of the fishing around here?
I haven't. I've not been fishing here yet.
Because
time.
Okay. You got to work when you're here.
I'm always working when I'm here. I don't get
Yeah.
to. I mean, it's fun, but something that is a goal of mine is to learn how to fly fish, and I think that's. I'm like, okay, next time I'm here, I'm gonna set
There might be
aside-
a person or two around.
There
that
might be.
could-
I've had a couple of offers. Like, okay,
So-
you just need to plan a few days to just.
I walked
do
in here and
that.
was like, "Oh, I'm Brandon. It's nice to meet you." I gave you a nice handshake, and every other person, it's been like just an engulfed hug. So like, I'm clearly the outsider here. I think everybody that you've embraced.
Oh, I
will,
will give you a hug next time.
I'll
I'm
get a hug
sorry.
when I
I'm
leave.
sorry.
But it seems like
They've become
You're
family.
pretty beloved around
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and I think
This is
everybody.
become my second home. for
That's
sure.
super cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So, food wise, I mean, you gotta love the guys that show up and prepare the food, and you know, this whole crowd, everything that we talk about, conservation, hunting, fishing, we all like food as well. And you guys knocked it out of the park tonight. Talk a little bit about why you enjoy that, and then kind of what you did for all of us.
I don't know, man. I've just always loved food. My family's been a family, a group of people that like to cook and like to eat, you know. And
you like good food. You're a manager at Whole Foods.
Yeah, yeah,
So you quality food.
yeah, yeah. And it's just been one of those deals where, I don't know. I mean, you never. It's like fly fishing. You're never perfect at it, right? And there's always the next thing that's really cool to check out. And I just have always stayed interested in it. It's been fun to kind of. Insert ourselves, Lucas and I, into the scene up here, kind of giving Lyndsey a day off, you know,
a
to
welcome
say,
day off.
yeah, and just say, hey, you know, okay, you got an event going on. Lucas and I are going to cook for one of it, you know, one of those days, and it's really fun to put some energy into, and you know, it feels like giving back to conservation. You know, Doug's gathering people here to try and further these efforts and put stuff in people's minds, and you know, as far as that goes, and you know, just it feels like a natural way for us to give back on something that's we like to do anyways. You know, we like to hang out when we're not here. We're hanging out on the patio at our families together, cooking and eating and chatting. So it's like, well, let's go do that up in a gorgeous setting an hour away. And yeah, so tonight we smoked some pastrami and made some sandwiches, cooked up some short ribs, cooked a couple venison loins and made some chimichurri. Yeah, some salad. It was fun, man. But this is the thing we do up here, and you know, at least one of the days we try and come up here and cook some good food and hang out with people. It's always a blast. Always good people. Always interesting people.
Yeah, and that's part of the family feel. You know, we ate all of our meals together. We didn't go out to a restaurant. We had a picnic for lunch. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Right next to the creek at that park with that really neat bluff and that wind tunnel. I mean, I don't know what else you call it. It's not a cave because it's open on both ends, but
Sure.
it's this tunnel that goes through this incredible bluff, and it's probably, I mean, it's close to 100 yards through there.
Yeah.
That whole area is just so super cool.
It's pretty magical.
And you made a great dinner for us last night, and then to have this, I mean, just cool, man. It's like
Yep.
it's a real coming together, and everybody brings a little something. So I don't know what I brought. I guess the podcast.
Oh man, it was a fun hang today.
It was
man. We were
super
driving
fun.
around like
Super
him and
fun.
I were just like right off the bat, just all day chatting and
Well, even last night we stayed up till about 1 o'clock. That
right.
You know, that's another thing that kind of comes with like not drinking. It's easy to be like, all right, I'm gonna leave you guys and go to bed. So I've been going to bed earlier these days. So to see 1 o'clock last night and then have to get up at 6 to fish, I was dragging ass after lunch. I had a big sandwich, and you're like, I gotta go back and cook, and I was like, dude, I'm going.
And by cook, it was like, I'm doing air quotes here, but it was like by cook, it means like I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna drink a bunch of water, I'm gonna wash my face, and I'm gonna get into shorts and t-shirts, and then 2 hours from now I'm gonna start cooking.
I went in the
We had
camper and
great
took
minds think alike.
took
you know?
a great nap, came in, took a shower, same thing. You know, started packing up my stuff.
It was hot today.
It was. So and that's another part of being here. You're spoiled by being so close to the water. I mean, you can fish the prime times, take it easy in the middle of the day,
Oh yeah.
and then get back out without having to go more than 5 minutes to find water.
Really, yeah,
So-
yeah. And I think a cool thing about Trout Routes is that, you know, having spent a lot of time fishing out here, and if we were to drive that 5 minutes and there's someone parked at the bridge we wanted to go to, it's not this is a disaster. It's drive to the next, or like, let's pull up trout routes, man. You know, they're within 15 miles of here. There's 7 trout streams, and that's not uncommon for this area. It's not like just around Cazenovia. In fact, it's not an area I've fished around a ton in Wisconsin, but like
we were talking
all
about
over this Driftless. There's just streams everywhere. You know?
Viroqua kind of being the
Sure.
heart of it all,
Yeah,
and
probably, yeah.
all that. So people listening, that's a good place to start. Like look at Viroqua and kind of span out from there.
Sure.
So, well, I think this has gone about 2 hours. We're an hour over our
That's a
normal.
poke. Yeah.
It's been great conversations. Really cool to get the whole group kind of on here and talking. Is there anything else you guys would like to cover or say? And looking forward to getting you on the podcast. And I'd love for you guys to come down and hang out in Missouri. I think we should do one of these.
I think that'd be fun.
Missouri's
there,
on my
too.
list.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We could. Eric was interested in doing one of these down south, so maybe we can get Doug to come and snatch you to help out down there as
even
well.
if he doesn't come,
You'll come without him.
I don't need Doug to.
There you go. Well, I'm trying to
But I do
incorporate
need
the
Lucas if I'm going to go. Right?
incorporate the sharing the
Share the land
land
thing?
deal.
Yeah, I can-
Oh, and I got my sweatshirt tonight, so
Yeah.
you guys both tried to give it to me. I wouldn't accept that. I made my $50 donation to share the land. So
Good stuff.
Dan Zecor was wearing his at the Aglow conference, and I said, I don't know how I don't have one of those yet. So thank you for
Fix that for you.
having one and letting me buy it on the spot. Campfire purchase.
Love it.
That was pretty cool.
Thank you.
So normally we wrap this up. We actually have an antique bait bucket that we went and bought prior to starting the podcast, however many years ago that was, 2019, I think, 2018. So for a long time, we've been drawing these questions from the mystery bait bucket. I don't have it with me. Sorry to let you guys down. I didn't bring it, and I don't have the questions. People send them in, and we'll draw one. And so if you have a mystery bait bucket question you want to ask, info at Driftwood Outdoors, send it in to us, and maybe it'll be on the podcast. But I think I'll just pick a question. If you had to pick a state that you've not fished, but now could use Trout Routes to kind of find some places to go, what state would you pick and why? Anybody can go first. And for me, it's Alaska. I just can't wait to get there. And now I got a better tool to help me find some places to catch some fish. So everyone knows I want to go to Alaska. I want to live there. I'm just not there yet.
Well,
So
I'll say Wisconsin. Even though I'm here, I haven't got to fish here, and just seeing what's available and looking at people going through their app and different things, I'm like, yep, I'm coming back just to fish.
nice.
I feel like it's not fully answering your question, but I'd say Wisconsin as well. I fished
Yeah.
here,
No,
but
dude,
I
that's
feel like
great.
there's so much more here that I should know that I
That's
don't
a
know.
hat tip to the homer, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just like there's so many areas here that I haven't fished in that I feel like I could fish in
Yeah.
with a little more information from Trout Routes.
I
So,
think that's a testament to it. Like, you don't have to use it to go somewhere like exotic.
Yeah.
Like I told you guys earlier that when we were outside, I said I pulled it up and I was looking at Missouri, and I found trout water in Missouri that I didn't know existed. I mean, I know the 9 blue ribbons and a couple other smaller creeks, but I was like, what the hell is this blue line right here? And I'm like pulling it up. I'm like, shit, there's trout
Trout
there? Like, I had no idea. So,
I mean, Doug grew up here, and we were looking at Trout Routes the other day, and he's like, oh, that's a class 1 trout stream that I didn't know existed that's 19 miles from the place I grew up, Probably, I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, Wisconsin, I've got...
Don't say Wisconsin.
No, but the other thing I'll say, I mean, there's a lifetime of fishing here in probably Minnesota and Iowa and the Driftless areas, right? But I want to go back to Montana, where I've been going for my whole life, and saying, like, is this landowner full of shit with his
signs?
With his signs, you know?
Yeah.
And I did.
Oh, that's a great
that's
point,
the first
man.
thing I did was I
Yeah.
went and, like, you know, these like obliquely angled signs that say no trespassing, and I'm like, and I went back and looked, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're full of shit. That's public. You know what I mean? And it's like this, and it means no trespassing just beyond this sign, and it's angled like it cuts into the water, but no, it's BS. And thank you, Trout Routes, because I guess I was still fishing
That's
there
a
anyways.
great point. Nobody else
I
brought
knew
that
they
up.
I knew they were full of it, but
So we talked about Onyx keeping us honest. We talked about how, like, with Onyx, it's hard to have an excuse for trespassing.
for sure.
But But you brought up the flip side that nobody else brought up, and that keeps landowners honest too.
Yeah, for sure. It is a good feeling to be able to like fully explore with Onyx and be like, I'm not stepping wrong here. You know what I mean? That's awesome. I love that because, you know, my nature, hunting, looking for mushrooms, fishing, whatever, is just like to push it and try and find the coolest, most out of the way stuff. But so being able to say, okay, that's a really cool thing. I'm still 20 yards from the boundary of the property is rad. But yeah, no, I mean, like going back and saying, like, I know this is public water and this is a janky sign, you know, and being able to look at it and say, man, I'm spending my whole day down there next time and not worrying about this landowner who's got a sign on a funky angle trying to make it implied that I can't go there. So yeah, it's cool. There's a dozen places like that in Montana where I can't wait to go back and feel comfortable fishing and not be worried about it.
Another one for me would be California, in Northern California, because I know about like the Redding fishery, and when I went up to the redwoods, I mean, I've been fortunate to see most of the, you know, what people would call kind of pinnacle natural resource destinations in the country. But those redwoods, man, like for whatever reason, they moved me in a way that I can't explain. And there was some beautiful water up there. And now to be able to be like, oh yeah, there's trout in here, there's trout in there. That'd be a cool trip too. So really cool. The last thing we do, and we're kind of, again, just flying without Shags here to help drive, is we always end with a gear review.
Okay.
Each of us will do it. Since he's not here, I'll do mine. If you guys have something just off the top of your head, you can review it. You can review the shirts, the sweatshirts that I bought. You know, tell people where to buy those. But I gotta review my super sweet Hey Dudes. My daughter got me these, Annabelle, and I haven't broke them out until this trip. And I've gotten some nice compliments on my man slippers. I love the fact that as adult men, we're now like socially acceptable to wear slippers wherever we go, and just
all
call
three
them,
of us are, by the way. All three of
call
us
it something else. But these are my my trout Hey Dudes. There's even a yellow perch on there, which is pretty amazing. So thanks to my sweet girl Annabelle for getting me these shoes. They've been a hit at my little trout party.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I swear to God, before you mention your shoes, I was going to say I'm a Croc guy, and I want to let everyone know that they're out there, and you too can get them, and they can change your life. You know what I mean?
You and my cousin Derek, man.
I've hunted in them. I swear to God, I've pulled them over waders when I forgot my wading boots, you know, and fished in them, and yeah. I'm standing tall.
Well, it's funny because I was just going to say, I was so impressed by Alex's Crocs that he has on. Have you seen his Crocs?
No, mine are sort of a classier
No,
Wimbledon
A dress Croc.
He's got like the accent line around his Crocs.
Dress Croc.
Dress Crocs.
Mine are a dress Croc, clearly, right? His are more of an action Croc, probably, but mine still do action.
That's where I was at. Those impressed me.
Yeah.
And Dazzle's wearing the Bostons.
A little bit more of a tradition.
I've had Bostons for probably 20 years. I go through a pair every couple of years, and I've worn a lot of those. So yeah, we're really doing well on the shoes.
And Carhartt vests, and this ties the whole thing together with the razzle dazzle scene, right? So
Yeah, where are they?
I bought a.
Mine's in
It's
my
too
truck
hot.
right outside.
I bought a Carhartt vest, right?
I
And-
bought mine first.
And he bought his first. Whatever. No one's paying attention to that. That's not pertinent to the story, right? So we both show up. I think we were coming up here maybe, and
It was for the first doe derby.
I think
wasn't it?
so.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you wearing?" And he's like, "This is my vest." I'm like, "This is my vest." And he's like, "I'm like, you can't wear that, dude. We're not wearing the same thing, right?" So we both did, and then something happened where I don't know.
think Brock said, "You guys are wearing the same vest."
Yeah, maybe.
You're
right,
wearing the
right.
same camo.
Yeah, right. So somehow the term razzle dazzle came into our vernacular between me and him, and at one point I stole his vest from him and took it to an embroidery shop, and I got razzle put on mine and dazzle put on his.
Okay.
And I said, if we're gonna wear the same vest, we're leaning in a little bit here. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a thing. So that's what we do. Now we got
I like it.
the razzle dazzle.
The
vest
razzle
going.
dazzle.
Oh yeah, and he's got the hat razzle.
Maybe
dazzle.
someday you guys will have a restaurant and it'll be Razzle Dazzle.
That's not a good name for a restaurant. it does not imbue confidence in the person eating there. Yeah, it's a little much. But.
I think we'll. Do you have anything? I mean, Chacos are pretty sweet too. You're not getting in the shoe game.
No, I'm really actually. I think I might have to go home and order a pair of those Crocs that
Mm.
Alex has on. I was like,
Dress Crocs.
That
no,
cuts me
no.
to the bone. That's not my Wimbledon.
But it was like
esque
his has got
Crocs,
this
you know?
like skid stop on the side of it. It was like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Doing a
Well,
lot of skidding.
everyone should buy the Share the Land. The it's not ours. It's just our turn. Sweatshirts. Help Doug and Lyndsey continue to move this thing forward. You know, Share the Land is it's just an awesome concept, and seeing it kind of be birthed and hopefully gain some steam, like we said, we're the moths being drawn to Doug's light. So
Yep.
and you can get those at DougDuren.com.
DougDuren.com if you want to check them out. So it's been great meeting all of you.
Yeah, man.
Really
Thank
fun.
you.
So we'll see you down the trail.